I'm explaining a film from 2006 titled Lucky Number Slevin. Spoilers ahead. Enjoy the content. Two bookies and a young man are killed, while a young guy is killed by a sniper nearby. Smith tells a young guy about Max and a Kansas City shuffle. Max borrowed from the mob to bet on a rigged race, but the horse died. In order to serve as a warning to anybody considering placing a wager on a rigged race, the mob killed Max, his wife, and their little son Henry. Smith reveals that the Kansas City shuffle was actually a cunning double bluff before tricking the young man, murdering him, and loading his body into a truck. Slevin Kalevra in New York cleans the steam off a bathroom mirror after shaving. Slevin's nose is broken. As he wipes the last of the shaving cream off his face, there is a thunderous bang at his door. Even when he calls out that he is approaching, the door continues to knock as he approaches it while just wearing a towel. When he opens the door, a youthful lady unaffected by the knowledge that the man in front of her is not Nick, Lindsay walks in right away. According to Slevin, Lindsay had a deceptively tall knock, meaning that the way the sound of her knocking on the door echoed gave the impression that she was much taller than she actually was. "What's happened to Slevin's nose?" Lindsay asks. He says someone hit him that he wasn't expecting. He begins telling Lindsay a story about unfortunate events occurring in groups of 3. He went from being unemployed to being at home to find out his apartment building had been condemned. When he got to Kelly's place, his girlfriend, he found her sleeping with another man. Consequently, Slevin went to see his close buddy Nick in New York. After the plane landed, he was talking to Nick on the phone when a man came up to him, requested to smoke, then demanded his money and struck him in the nose, breaking it. As Lindsay notes, there are 4 terrible things here, not just 3. She also says that Slevin's gorgeous watch and purse were not taken by the thief. Slevin asks her to give him her name, which changes the direction of the conversation. When she asks where Nick is, Slevin tells her that he hasn't arrived yet. He was scheduled to see Slevin at the flat. He allowed himself in, since the door was unlocked. Slevin answers the phone when it rings, but the caller hangs up. Lindsay informs Slevin that the call originated from the Hotel Cheval without delay after calling the call return number and pretending to be someone who mistakenly dialed the wrong number. Now that she knows who the man spoke to, she thinks it's time to find out who called the man. To Slevin's delight, she goes on to describe her detective job by quoting Columbo. She is connected to the same hotel when she tries again. The call from the mysterious caller at the hotel may contain the key, according to Lindsay, who believes that Nick is in danger. Shortly after Slevin opens the towel to remove it, allowing her to see what it was covering, Lindsay quickly says that she has to leave the apartment for work. She dashes back inside, forgetting the cup of sugar she came to borrow. When Lindsay walks out, Slevin returns to the restroom. Once more, the doorbell rings. Slevin rushes to answer the door, thinking Lindsay has returned, only to see 2 men enter, Slow, who works for the boss, and Elvis. They take him hostage, thinking he's Nick, and deliver him to their boss. The boss is the alleged leader of a massive criminal organization and resides on the penthouse of a heavily secured skyscraper. As soon as they begin speaking, Slevin tries to act smart, and they get into a verbal cat and mouse game. At last, the boss reveals that Nick, who they all assume to be Slevin, owes him $96,000 in unpaid gambling debt. He has to kill the rabbi's son, a competing crime lord, in order to escape this duty and do the Lord a favor. The rabbi is an ordained rabbi, and because of his homosexuality, his son Yitzchak is referred to as the fairy. This is payback for the death of the boss's son, which he accuses the rabbi of doing. The boss starts talking to a man who appears to have planned the entire thing as Slevin departs. The individual is identified as Smith, and it was he that was contracted to murder the fairy. When the boss questions him about why he didn't do the task himself, the man just responds that he will indeed kill somebody. As Slevin is being led from the building into the automobile, 2 men hiding behind what seems to be a plumbing truck snap a picture of him. One of them tells the other that they must call someone by the name of Brakowski. A fresh face has arrived in town. Slevin walks back inside Nick's apartment. With the intention of taking him to the Hotel Cheval, Lindsay shows up. Nick is still not there. Finding out who contacted the apartment on their behalf is possible thanks to Lindsay's acquaintance who works at the hotel. She observes Slevin intently examining the newspaper he has picked up. The title on the front page talks about Slim Hopkins going missing, which is ironic considering that Hopkins is thought to be connected to several other unexplained disappearances. Saying that Slim was deceased when they first met, Slevin tells Lindsay that he met Slim. When Lindsay hears her phone ring in her apartment, she quickly answers it because she thinks her hotel roommate could be calling. Slevin starts getting ready while he waits for her. 2 males who appear Hasidic meet him as he goes to answer the door and tell him that Shlomo wants to see him. Despite Slevin's best efforts to deny knowing Shlomo, he is struck in the stomach by another blow and taken hostage once more, only this time with the intention of seeing the rabbi. While being driven to see Shlomo, the rabbi, he realizes he's being brought back to the boss building. However, Saul informs him that the rabbi lives in a building just across the street. Once partners and even close friends, the rabbi and the boss turned on one another and made a murderous attempt on each other. Since then, neither has left the safety of their own penthouses. Slevin plays a brave game of verbal cat and mouse with the rabbi, and Slevin replies to him without hesitation. In the end, the rabbi informs Slevin that he owes him $33,000 as, in spite of Slevin's denials, they think he is Nick Fisher. He has 48 hours to raise the money in whatever way he sees fit. Following Slevin's escort, the rabbi starts telling an unseen person that he has made half of a prearranged payment to their Cayman Islands account, with the remaining half to be transferred once their old buddy has passed away. Smith shows up, and the rabbi asks about Slevin. Smith just says, "The child and I have some unfinished business." Afterwards, Slevin tells the boss that he intends to kill the fairy. Smith is somehow involved with both sides, which is why Nick's debts are called in. He also plans to kill Slevin once the fairy passes away, creating the impression that the two killed themselves, all while Slevin is meeting with mafia bosses. Dinner is scheduled for Slevin and Lindsay, and Slevin makes an appointment with the fairy. Slevin is approached by Detective Brakowski, who is looking into the boss and the rabbi. Brakowski, who once wagered heavily with one of the murderous bookmakers, has discovered that Smith is making his first trip back to the city in 20 years and feels that the boss, the rabbi, Smith, and Slevin are connected. Later, Slevin discloses his full name when the investigator approaches him once again. When Slevin shows up at the fairy's place for their date, he murders him, but Smith then appears. Smith completes the ferry without shooting Slevin, suggesting that Slevin and Smith are working together. After that, Slevin pulls the victim's body from the bus terminal inside the apartment, identifying it as Nick Fisher, while Smith kills the ferry's bodyguards. After learning of their charge's death, the bodyguards stormed in via a secret entrance carved into the wall, only to be slain by Smith with 2 silent handguns. Then Smith and Slevin detonate the apartment. After being abducted by Smith and Slevin, the boss and the rabbi wake up at the boss's penthouse. When Slevin appears, he reveals the major plot twist. The boss and the rabbi were the mobsters that assassinated Max, and Slevin is Henry, the unfortunate Max's son. It is revealed that Smith was the hired assassin who was supposed to kill young Henry, but after a moral dilemma, Henry took him in and raised him. 20 years later, Slevin tells us that he and Smith killed the bookmakers for the mobsters while robbing the ledgers. They discovered that Nick owed a substantial amount of money to both parties, so they killed him and stole his identity. Next, Slevin killed the boss's kid to get the boss to hire Smith to kill the boss, to kill the rabbi's son in retaliation. Smith obtained the boss's contract to kill the fairy under the alias Nick Fisher. Smith also convinced the rabbi to defend the fairy, provided that both Slevin and Smith paid off Nick's debts, giving them unfettered access to the well-guarded mobsters. After revealing his identity, Slevin suffocates the rabbi and the boss by covering their heads with plastic bags, killing them in the same way that they killed his father. In an attempt to hide his identity, Smith shoots Lindsay after she takes a picture of him while looking into Nick's kidnapping. While searching for Slevin, Brakowski gets a call from his boss and learns where the identity Slevin Kalevra came from. Kalevra is Hebrew for bad dog, which is akin to Smith's nickname. Lucky Number Slevin was the horse on which his father had wagered. 20 years ago, Brakowski killed Slevin's mother to settle his gambling debts. After hearing this story, Brakowski accepts his fate and watches as Slevin appears in his rearview mirror and kills him, completing his masterwork of revenge. Later, as Lindsay approaches Slevin at the bus stop, it comes to light that Smith had instructed Slevin to kill Lindsay since she possessed a picture of him. Additionally, it is revealed that about the same time that Slevin helped Lindsay stage her death, he confessed to her who he really was. Smith, who knows about the lie, is informed by Slevin that he had to save Lindsay and that he doesn't think Smith would comprehend. Smith acknowledges that Lindsay saved him as a youngster and promises to leave her alone. After giving Slevin's father's old watch back, Smith disappears into the crowd. The movie fast-forwards 20 years to the moment when Smith first helped little Henry. As they leave, Smith is listening to Kansas City Shuffle on the radio. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, do subscribe, like and comment if you'd like to see more videos like this. Hope to see you next time.